Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Let's Play Live Star Insurance Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. We are live out of Auckland's Sky City Sky Tower for Season 3, Episode 6. That's right, it is the penultimate round. It's the do or die week. My name is Brendan White. Welcome back to our Sky viewers and everybody on Twitch. I'm joined by the brain man, Simon. Welcome back again.
Hey.
VelocityNews.co.nz. This guy knows all about motorsport racing. We'll find that out later on in the show. We went to New Zealand last week. It was a pretty epic show. We saw sprint races, probably the highlight for me, and we saw rain. What did you think, Simon?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, you know, all things considered. Last season when we went to Rapuna for the season opener of Season 2, it was a little bit stale, and I was a little bit worried that when we went back to Mike Perry Motorsport Park, that with the GT3 cars, it'd be a bit boring, but it was anything but that. In race 1, we went on the club circuit. Robert Northway made the most of a bit of battling going on. We could see a bit of a shunt here behind as he steals the places. Got up to third there as Monkey Matt and Seeker got into each other, but it was Matthew Bull Pluck who dominated the race. Race 1, sprint 1 going his way. 100 points to his name. Again, it was Northway and Pluck who were battling it out in the second sprint race of the night, again on the club circuit. Northway this time prevailed in the wet weather. A bit of argy-bargy going on there. We were worried that there might be a bit more contact, but Northway managed to get away and take the win in sprint race number 2 of the night. Then we had the feature, the longer race. Robert Northway was out in front. He decided to go long on the pit stop strategy and execute an overcut. That got him into second place and put him on fresh tyres for the end of the feature race here on the big Grand Prix circuit. By the end of the race, Pluck was leading, but he couldn't hold on. Northway just giving him a bit of a bump and run, pushed him out of the way, got to his outside, and eventually managed to get around the outside and take the win.
Yeah, well, there must be something in the water because it was all Christchurch locals there. Matthew Bull Pluck trying to come home with the win, but of course it was Robert Northway. Murphy's Law taking it again. And this is your championship tournament ladder. Matthew Bull Pluck is doing it. 1,856 points, which means Robert Northway tonight minus 92. You get 100 points for a sprint race, 2 sprint races tonight, and 200 points for a feature race. So Robert Northway, he's in the good position. Top 8, remember, next week, $6,000 up for grabs here at LPL. Seeker, that Christchurch person, we don't know much about him. He's a flying fox, 340 points behind. He's got a lot to do, but they're Australian. It's an ANZ championship, ladies and gentlemen. So there's 16 races from Australia and New Zealand vying for this. Madsy's got a lot of work to do tonight, Simon.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting to see how this week will play out. Down there in P8 is Simon Bishop. Now, he is 888 points adrift, and he messaged me not long before we went on air tonight saying that this will be his last round of the Project Cars Championship because he got called up to compete in the Gran Turismo Sport competition. So basically, if you're in 9th, you're in with a shot of getting into that last chance top 8. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out tonight.
Well, you've got the guys of Damien Main from Australia, Syfe Crimson, Info Agent. All of those guys really need to deliver the goods because 16 races, it's a top 16 championship. 8 go through to this grand final here in the LPL studio. So it's not like before. We listened to the fans and the friends were like, okay, what do we do here? So we've got different cars each week. We'll find out what we're racing very shortly. We've got $6,000 up for grabs, and that finishes next week. And then we go to Bathurst as well. So next week is Bathurst. $6,000. So look at this championship total, $2,500 AUD up for first. That's pretty epic, Simon.
Yeah, pretty epic prize pool. You've got 2 chances to get a bit of dosh in your wallet there too. Obviously that LAN, the top 3 getting a little bit of extra pocket money there, depending on how they go. Only the top 8 though get to come to Sky City here in Auckland.
It was pretty cool. Number 8, $25. So you get to buy the boys a box of beers if you're in 8th position. Mind you, you do get a free trip to Auckland, so that's pretty cool. Like, you get to stay in Sky City, and if you're, say, Damien Main or your Kyle Madden, the Australian competitors, you get a flight over the ditch. So an ANZ championship, pretty cool to see for esports. Now, in that, we're in motor racing, and in motor racing, of course, contact happens, rubbing's racing. Well, last week, one of the judicials was looking at the post-event, I guess, replay, and he thought that this deserved 20 championship points off the card, Simon.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how it went. There was a bit of a complaint that went on. SYF Crimson just drifting really wide of the apex there, getting into one of the other competitors, forcing them wide, and then ultimately SYF Crimson took the place. The other competitor obviously thought I don't know, I'm a bit annoyed after that one and decide to complain. I don't know, I can sort of see where the officials are coming from, but maybe missed the mark on that decision.
Yeah, we won't chuck Ricky under the bus too much here, but, you know, I just did, didn't I? Well, look, it is motorsport, and you do have the opportunity to complain, just like in drifting or TRS or any New Zealand category. So we're going to go to a new track this week. We're going to go to a new country, and we're going to see those very shortly. Let's have a look first where we've been. This is our location list. So we've been to Germany, the United Kingdom, Japan, very similar things on the right-hand side of your screen. Matthew Ball Pluck, Robert Northway, Pluck, Northway. And then, of course, we went to the UAE and New Zealand Mike Perry Motorsport Park. It was a local game, but this week we're in the United States of America at the Circuit of Americas. It's a beautiful $300 million track, 2 sprint races there. I've been there. It is a big track. We're going to go through that shortly. And then we go to Sonoma. Simon, tell us about these tracks.
Yeah, 2 legendary circuits in America. Circuit of the Americas, home to the United States Grand Prix. Sonoma Raceway, home to the IndyCar final as of last year. This year, unfortunately, they lost that right, but 2 great circuits that will hopefully produce some great racing with an even greater car that we will be racing tonight. It is the Dallara IR12 Chevrolet powered IndyCar. The road course version giving them heaps of downforce. This car goes from 0 to 100 in just 3.5 seconds at 322 kilometers max speed, and with 740 horsepower weighing at just 725 kilos, this car is super quick. Certainly the most powerful car that we've had all season.
Now, look, we go to this this open cockpit, you know, open wheeler, there's damage. The guys that had previously, when we'd raced, I can't remember what track, but they'd said that in the wash, in the wet, it was just atrocious to pass in the wet in these type of cars. How nimble and how much difference does this make to something like the Ginetta, a big whale of a car?
Yeah, it's hard because the car's obviously light and you've got a lot of power to play with. When you're not using the aerodynamics through the slow corners, it does mean that, you know, the car can light up the rear wheels and has a tendency to spin. It does require a lot of car control. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys handle the conditions, depending on whether it is dry, whether it's wet, whether it's cold, whether it's hot. You know, there's all sorts of factors that play into it. It does take a little while to get the heat into the core of the tyre. So, yeah, I'm fascinated to see how these guys go tonight.
Well, we're about to find out on that. But first, talking about car control, you've got your own opportunity to control a car, a supercar of all, and that's thanks to driven.co.nz. Matthew Hansen's not with us because he's out testing supercars, but you can test one as well. Driven.co.nz. Hampton Downs is hooking it up. Thanks to Sky City, you and the partner, or you and your mate, can come along, share a bedroom, and actually share a drive of this car. So you both get a drive in the car, and you've got to be careful because you don't want to obviously put it off it, but Lamborghini Huracan, your own drive, Hampton Downs. Get onto Driven, watch the show tonight, and we can find out all about it. Now let's find out about these tracks, Simon. You can run us through this first track, Circuit of Americas. Let's have a look at it. It's a lot of corners. It's left, right, it's left, right. Where are the passing opportunities? Where are the moving and shaking going to happen?
This is it, Circuit of the Americas, home to the United States Grand Prix, a fascinating circuit that takes inspiration from some of the world's greatest venues. You can see there the checkered flag. That is the start and finish line here. You start off, head up the hill. It's a really steep rise into turn 1. Then you plummet down the hill into the fast sweeping turn 2. You can see that line across the track. That starts the section that mimics Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone. Then you go through the yellow sector there. You can see that really long straight. That'll give these guys a good opportunity to get the slipstream, get the draft, hopefully make some opportunities there. You can see midway through the blue sector there's a triple apex right-hander which mimics Istanbul Park in Turkey, and then you've got another group of left-handers to round out the circuit. A fascinating track, one of the newest ones on the United States Grand Prix rostrum, newest on the Formula 1 calendar as well. It's a cool circuit and one that's really going to challenge these drivers tonight.
Now this is in Texas, Dallas, Texas, and there's a lot of corners here. So with these corners, I really do think, hopefully it's wet because we'll see some great racing, but I do think they're going to potentially just spread out and play it safe for all these corners. Now, penalties are on in this race, so even though it's a game as such, if people leave 4 wheels off the corner, it gets a lot of, you get the big black mark next to your name from Ricky in Motorsport New Zealand's office, which is a big bad one. So they're watching for it. So penalties are on. A lot of these tracks actually have sensors. Texas, this Circuit of Americas, watch for coming up over turn 1. It's a bit of a blind corner as you pop back down over to the left. It's an amazing circuit. I've been there. I went there for X Games. It's a long circuit too.
Yeah, and we obviously had a play on the circuit before we came out on air. It's a fascinating track, isn't it? So hard, like just the section through Sector 2. That stylised off Silverstone circuits, Maggots and Beckett's was super tough, wasn't it? You know, getting on those curbs can really send you wide of the apex.
Left to right, left to right. Okay, well, let's have a little bit of a bet right now. Simon Bishop, you know, you've got a favourite. I'm not going to call Pluck. I'm not going to call Robert Northway. I'm going to go for the Flying Fox. And if he wins tonight, I will drop on air his name. So there you go, Seeker.
Are you allowed to do that?
Oh, I don't know. He's not here. He's in Christchurch. So there you go, Seeker. So you quit. You pick.
Robert Northway.
Of course you would, wouldn't you? All right, let's have a look at the qualifying and see who are the movers and shakers of Circuit of America, who qualified well, who's going to be on the grid.
Oh,
there's no, am I right?
Northway and Seeker, the two boys that we picked tonight, are nowhere to be seen. Matthew Bull Pluck is on pole position here, ahead of Kyle THR Madzi AU, Madden the Aussie, starting on the front row there. John Baggs, well done to him. He's put in a fantastic result to get up into P3 there. Friends down in P4, S-Wave Crimson in P5. Monkey Matt, Dave Stone, Info Agent Dave, Alki Roberts and Fade completing the top 10. But we look down the order. Wow, no times for anyone beyond 11th. So Daniel Pinkham, he'll take 11th. Robert Northway, EVP, Simon Bishop, Seeker and Damien Main rounding out the order. So you have to wonder whether maybe these guys, a bit like you and I when we were racing earlier tonight, just maybe exceeding the track limits, didn't have enough time to lap. You look at those lap times there, 1 minute 50 seconds to get around here. They've only got basically 5 minutes to do a lap of the circuit. So it doesn't surprise me that perhaps these guys have made a mistake on their one warm-up lap, and that's basically just ruined their entire qualifying session. So look for the two men that we picked, Robert Northway and Seeker. They are all the way down in 12th and 16th respectively. So we wait now. You can see the front straight here on the lead up to turn 1, super steep. Bit of camber to play with as well. Matthew Pluck will no doubt want to hug the inside line into turn 1, but if you can get to the outside and maintain momentum through the corner, you can actually hold your way around the outside, which gives you the inside into turn 2. So we await the lights to come on here at Circuit of the Americas. It's a packed house in the virtual world tonight. Same can't be said for the real world occasionally, but we hope to see crowds like that in the future, some of the events around the world.
We will, mate. We've just epically announced the Motorsport Madness month coming up in New Zealand. We are about to go racing the Circuit of Americas. As you see there, the front straight, what you don't see here is actually the elevation change. When you're sitting down in those grandstands, you're basically looking straight up at the sky for turn 1. Matthew Bull Pluck, did he actually just get gifted first place for next week's championship? Well, we are about to find out. We're syncing, which means the races are ready. They're tuned in. Kyle Madzi Madden, the Australian, ready to go from Brisbane. They're in. John Baggs, Prinz, will they drop down? Here we go, take it away, Simon.
Here we go, Matthew Bull Pluck. He's got a really good start away, but Kyle Madden equally as good around the outside. Looks like John Baggs is going to try and slot down the inside at turn 1, but can't quite make it happen. Relatively clean behind them. Matthew Pluck managing to get away with the lead. Already got a few car lengths over Kyle Madden there. We look down the order. Northway somehow has already managed to make his way up into P6. That is incredible. The man running the Scott Dixon livery in the Target colours. A great start from him, all things considered. He was way down the pack.
12 to 6 in the matter of
2 turns, basically.
2 turns.
Wow, a good recovery from him already, but it is Matthew Bull Pluck who leads the way. Kyle Madden second, John Baggs doing a stellar job in P3 there. Prinz, Monkey Matt and Northway completing a top 6, but I don't think we'll see Robert Northway staying down in P6 for very long. We can already see he's got alongside Monkey Matt and got clear to crack the top 5. Prinz just ahead of him as well. So you see that draft.
Seeker disconnected. I hope that wasn't... Oh no, still on there, but he's last. Or maybe he's gone, okay, I'm going to come last. If you're going to call my name out, I'm going to come last. Well, on board with Robert Northway gets a big shunt from Monkey Matt. The Target red car on screen right now, sitting right behind Prinz. Prinz having an exceptional drive over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, great job from Prinz. Has really come into his own late in the championship here. Northway trying to make up for the bad qualifying mistake that he obviously made, but he's certainly got a target on him and on his car. He's sitting P2 in the championship at the moment, but if he wants to get into the lead of the series, he needs to get ahead of Matthew Pluck.
Right, if you guys are just joining us, we are live out of Auckland Sky City Sky Tower. It's the Let's Play Live Star Insurance Project Cars Championship. This is Sprint Race 1. So we've been talking about Prens. He's Todd Murray from Wellington, because a lot of people will be going, who's Prens? Why have these guys got so many different names like NZ, Simon B? It's their gamer name, because we're in a game right now. They are still racing. Some of these guys race up to 20 to 30 hours per week practicing this. A lot of these guys go international and compete in esports internationally as well. And some of these guys actually race in real life. Robert Northway right now on screen. Matthew Bullpluck way out front for Robert Northway, 4 seconds ahead of him. Those are the championship leaders. We go on board now. He pushes wide. These are the corners we're talking about. Left, right, Simon. Just keeps going.
Yeah, certainly puts a lot of stress on the cars. We see one car spinning there. Who was that? Was that Kyle Madden? Kyle Madden has just looped it. And somehow, Robert Northway has managed to miss the stricken car that was sitting right in the middle of the circuit. Kyle Madden, he's just sitting there on the edge of the grass, waiting for everyone to move away, manages to get the car going ahead of info agent Robert Murphy's Law Northway, now sitting in P4 after that drama. Man, hopefully we can get a replay of that, because that was super close for Northway. Just narrowly missing the car that spun out ahead, was sending all sorts of smoke signals ahead of him, and he just was wise enough to it and moved out of the way just in time. Matthew Pluck has done a fantastic job here now in the Playtech colours, leading by a whopping 5 seconds on lap number 2 here. He did a 1:51 that last time by. Great job on the opening lap. This is John Baggs we're watching, but further behind, Robert Northway has got past Prens, so that's a great job from Northway. We're on lap 2 of 8 here, and Northway has done a stellar job in just 2 laps to get from 12th to 2nd, or 12th to 3rd, I should say, and I don't think it'll be long before he gets up into 2nd past John Baggs.
Now look, if you had a bit of money and a bit of courage, it'd be great to see Robert Northway in a real car, because he delivers exceptional results, but at the same time, he's so hit and miss. So he's kind of like Talladega Nights or something, like, you know, Tom Cruise when he's in the movie and he just bins it and he just learns to control. Here we go. No bump. Oh no! He takes himself.
Damage, I think, maybe there for John Baggs.
That was John Baggs' fault, and that lets Monkey Matt.
No, that's Prens. Prens has got back into P2 there. Well, that'll be one that the judicials might have to look at there. There was a bit of wheel-to-wheel banging going on, but I don't know who you can really blame there. I think you can just have a look at that one and say that it was a racing incident. We watch here, Northway gets a really good run out of turn 2. They go into turn 3. Let's watch this. Oh. Now look, I did say it's John Baggs' fault, but if he wasn't watching his mirror and he wasn't aware of his racing surroundings, then it's an honest mistake. Yeah.
He came to come in on the apex.
We'll get back to that in a moment now, because Robert Northway has just sent it down the inside of Prens. Our cameraman is all over the place, unfortunately. Prens trying to send it back down the inside, but can't quite do it. Looking at the replay there, my gut instinct is the contact led to the incident, but it wasn't the cause of the incident. I think it put John Baggs sort of out of kilter, sent him a little bit wide of the apex, but once he got up onto those curbs, he was around, you know. So I'm not sure that you can really blame anyone for that incident, a bit of a racing incident there, and John Baggs unfortunately spinning on his own, and he's dropped down to 8th in the order. So as it stands, Matthew Pluck now has opened up his margin to a whopping 9 seconds. That's not what Northway wants if he wants to catch up in this championship and be a challenger.
Well, your friend there, New Zealand, Simon Bishop, sitting in 5th position. So you're saying this is his last week? He's not here next week. So this was a 8-round championship, but the 8th round, the first round, is a completely individual race. So really it's a 7 rounds. This is the 6th round. So next week he's not there for the grand final.
Yeah. Basically the last 2 rounds he's going to miss, unfortunately, and it's actually a credit to Simon, considering, you know, he's actually already missed a round. He was over in New York competing in the Gran Turismo Sport Manufacturers Cup, still sitting in P8 in the championship, whereas guys like, I think only Monkey Matt has only missed a round as well, and he's done a really good job to stay in the top 8 as well. So this will give a free kick to anyone who's behind as we watch EVP go around for a spin, and we see another car ahead, John Baggs as well, going for another spin, unfortunately for him, through that Maggots and Beckett's styled section. So yeah, I guess if you're someone like S-Wife Crimson, further down the championship standings, you know, Dave Stone, EVP, any one of those guys from about 9th onwards, this is your opportunity to shine and take advantage of that opportunity, because Simon Bishop, unfortunately, gets the late call up.
Yeah, well, John
won't be able
Beggs
to
was
compete.
doing that for the start of the race. You know, he was definitely one playing for keeps. Kyle Madden all the way down in 10th position now. He's not going to be happy about that. This is the man we're talking about. He has definitely got the opportunity to jump up into the top 8 and get to LPL. So that's right, in week 8, they all come down here into the LPL studios and they race for the all-out dogfight at Bathurst. Monkey Matt sitting in 4th position at the moment, right behind Prenz Northway, trying to close that gap, but Pluck 8 seconds ahead now.
Yeah, incredible job by Pluck here on these opening few laps. We're about halfway through here at Circuit of the Americas, a fascinating circuit that's hosted all sorts of motor racing. Currently hosts the Formula One Grand Prix. The United States Grand Prix has hosted the FIA World Endurance Championship, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, still hosts MotoGP. It's an awesome circuit, and I believe they've spent anywhere between like $4 and $5 billion basically over the 10-year course that it took for them to build the circuit. The elevation is somewhere like 130 odd feet from the bottom to the top. And it's a crazy little circuit. We see S5 Crimson go for a spin again, I think.
I think little was an understatement there, Simon.
So Crimson's going to drop out of the top 8, and that's an unfortunate error.
That's another one.
man.
South Crimson sitting in 9th position at the moment, or 10th position in the championship standings. These guys are the ones that have really got to, John Baggs, South Crimson, Info Agent, these are the ones we've got to be watching because this is the week they have to do it. John Baggs now challenging, what was he challenging, Simon?
I don't know. Can't remember. So we are on lap 5 of 8 here. John Baggs on the comeback. Unfortunately, he's stuck down in P11. 2 spins for him. He's trying to get past Dave Alki Roberts on the long straight here. Won't do him any good being on the outside without the slipstream, but it'll give him the inside line into this tight left-hander. Can he pull it up in time? Locks up the brakes a little bit in the Menards car. Manages to get by, so Dave Alki Roberts drops back down to P11. John Baggs cracks the top 10 finally. We are watching Seeker at the moment, hunting down Dave Stone, I believe that is.
Kyle Madden moves up a position, which he will be like. Seeker sitting in 7th. Those are some big jumps for Seeker. Take, you got to get out the front there and we can finally name you. We have been given your name. I wonder how much trouble I would get for saying it on air.
He might pull out of the competition, mate.
So he has said if we don't name him, that he will come in. If he gets into the top 8, currently sitting in 3rd position, he's going to come to the LPL studios and he's going to race in his fox suit. So it's kind of like mascots, you know. You
Would
see
that
them
fit
in
in his
NBA
carry-on?
and NBL. No, they'd have to book him extra luggage.
Does he just go on the plane wearing the suit?
Dude, 10 points if he does. Is that Dave Stone that takes? Yes, it is. Dave Stone now takes a wipe out behind Seeker. That's going to drop him down. South Crimson picks up a position. So it's all getting muddled up here. Is it the curbs and the painted lines, Simon, that are just playing havoc with these guys?
I think it might even be the car. It's certainly a car that's proving difficult. We're seeing lots of lockups, lots of mistakes. Pluck has been basically infallible at the moment, but unfortunately he's losing a little bit of time over these last couple of laps in Northway. That margin's come down to a little over 7 seconds. We can see Simon Bishop now absolutely hustling to get past Monkey Matt. These two have got a bit of history together. Went over to New York to compete in the GT Sport competition. You can see there he opens the door from nicely. Will he give it away though? Sure has, because it goes a little bit wide, but Simon Bishop goes wide as well. So Monkey Matt's able to get to the outside through this triple apex right-hander, who will hold on to the place. Oh, it's going to be tight coming out of the corner there. Wow, Monkey Matt and Simon Bishop having a great battle here in the closing stages of sprint race number 1. Simon Bishop sends it back down the inside. Oh, a bit of contact there. Monkey Matt gets a little bit loose. These boys are playing for keeps. Doesn't matter if they're down on 4th and 5th. They still want to get those points, despite the fact that Simon Bishop unfortunately won't be able to compete in the final. Just going for bragging rights as it stands.
So usually Monkey Matt gets the invite as well, so only Simon Bishop got the...
That's what I'm told. I'm not sure. Monkey Matt might have got an invite, but he didn't let me know, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we can get on the Discord and see what these guys are up to, whether we'll have all of them at the final. We'd like to have the best at the championship final, but you know, sometimes you've got to let your esports career take priority, and Simon Bishop is really making the most of that.
Well, both of these guys, usually a lot of these guys in this field are in the top 16 or the 16 drivers do 10, 20 hours. These guys don't get that luxury because they actually have to practice the other championship races that they've got internationally as well. South Crimson at the moment, big lock up there. Just as we came off screen with New Zealand Simon Bishop's side, Crimson sitting in 7th position at the moment. Remember, this is a championship title fight, so whenever someone's competing in the championship, it's about the points. It's about getting to that pointy end. And whoever doesn't get the points this week, well, it's going to be that much harder for the final next week to come to the grand finale, the Bathurst dogfight here at LPL Studios. Matthew Bull-Clark way ahead at the moment, but Northway has closed the gap. It was up at 8 to 9 seconds. There you go, tonight's code, driven.co.nz. Just go on to driven.co.nz, scroll down and enter RACE, that's right, race, and you can be driving yourself a Lamborghini Huracan, the same as Mad Mike Widett and his mad drift machine that he took over to Goodwood Festival.
Humble.
Humble? Was it Humble, is
Humble.
it? Humble.
Bit of a tame name, I guess you could say, all things considered, versus his other cars. It's probably one of the wildest ones.
One of the many bulls in his stables at the moment. 4 seconds, so the gap has closed again. Northway doing really well to close that gap up. As we ride on board with Matthew Bull-Clark now, and we follow him around the tricky section of Circuit of Americas.
Just 2 laps to go here, I believe. Oh no, we're on the last lap. Matthew Bull-Clark making his way around the circuit, maybe just backing off a little bit because that last lap was a 1:48.8 and Northway was on an absolute tear and he did a 1:45.5. So Northway really hustling on these last couple of laps, but unfortunately won't be able to catch up. I don't think unless Matthew Clark makes a mistake. Can't imagine he'll do that. He's been faultless all of this race, leading from lights to flag. Northway, not so. Had a bit of a fault in qualifying, but unfortunately that sent him to the back of the pack, and he's been able to hustle his way from the start of this race all the way to second, and that'll really help his case for the championship with only a few more races left to go.
The last corners for Pluck here, the Christchurch man currently leading the championship. Round the last corner, down the front straight of Circuit of Americas, the first sprint race, lap 8 of 8. Matthew Bull-Clark gets the checkered flag, which means Robert Northway closes gap down to 4 seconds. What a great comeback, the comeback kid of this championship.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing though is that Matthew Pluck does extend his championship after this race. We look now for Prenz to come home in P3. Great result from him, all things considered. Seeker a distant 4th at the moment. We wait and see when he comes across the line. Bit of shunting going on, bit of tomfoolery at the end of this race. Monkey Matt looks like he's going to come home just behind Simon Bishop. He's actually distant 2 seconds behind him as well. So Monkey Matt, there he is, top 6. Kyle Madden just holds on to P7 ahead of SYF Crimson. Dave Stone comes home P9 ahead of John Baggs. John Baggs will be pretty dark, I imagine, after that incident at the start of this race. Damien Oxide Main, gorgeous looking car there in the green and gold colours. He will come home in P11. We're waiting now on Dave Alki Roberts down in 12th. So an interesting race for everyone but Matthew Bull-Clark, really. Matthew Bull-Clark leading from lights to flag. Not really having to worry too much about the competition, but I think after that, he'll have to keep an eye on his back because Robert Northway, he did a stellar job getting up into P2 there, considering he started this race down in 12th.
Yeah, definitely the movers and shakers of this race. Kyle Madden, the Australian's not going to be happy with that. This is a crucial time for Kyle Madden to get in. There you go, the official results. Pluck in first position, Murphy's Law, Robert Northway in second position, Prenz, and then Seeker, the other Christchurch local, in fourth position. Your friend, the 2 internationals, Simon Bishop and Monkey Matt in sixth position.
Kyle Madden comes home in 7th. SYF Crimson, Dave Stone and John Baggs rounding out the top 10. No penalties to speak of throughout the field. Damien Oxide Main, Dave Alki Roberts, Info Agent, EVP, Fade and Daniel BMW Pinkham rounding out the order. So race 1 done and dusted here at Circuit of the Americas, the Grand Prix circuit. A good race, all things considered. You know, Pluck, untouchable again, but I imagine in this next race, the next 2 races, could be interesting to see how it goes.
Yes, well, we do have one more sprint race and then the feature race from Sonoma. Ladies and gentlemen, get yourself a drink. We've got some specials coming up. Get on to driven.co.nz and enter that race category to win your drive of a Huracan. Stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Let's Play Live Star Insurance Specialist Project Cars, and it's Ola time. That's right, LPL AU or LPL NZ. The first ride is on them. It's on the Google Play Store or the download on the App Store. Well, you know, Sprint Race 1 is down, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, my name is Brendan White. I'm joined by Simon Chapman, Velocity News, and this is the Project Cars ANZ Championship races from Australia and New Zealand, competing for $6,500, and then the grand dog fight in here, live at the LPL studios inside Sky City Sky Tower. Well, the first race was interesting, but this race is going to get a bit more interesting. But first, let's take a look at some of the action from race 1, Simon.
Saw Robert Murphy's Law Northway get into a bit of a bingle here through turn 3. This incident, we weren't really sure how to adjudicate it. We said during the race that the incident probably led to the spin but wasn't the sole cause of the spin. So I don't know, they might deduct some points from Robert Northway, but you know, personally, if I was the guy doing the officiating, I probably wouldn't dock him any points, because we want this championship to be as close as possible.
Well, judging by last week, the officiating man was very, very harsh. So I feel for Robert Northway, but it doesn't matter if it pegs him down a little bit because he's up there. But we really need to take some points off Pluck, not Robert Northway. Something in the water in Christchurch, isn't there, Christchurch locals? Right, well, let's have a look at what the track conditions are potentially going to be for this race. Sprint race number 2 from Circuit of Americas. What are we looking at?
Well, the temperature is still certainly hot. It's 29 degrees in the air and 31 degrees on track. Light rain on the forecast though, so potentially quite an overcast and humid day. Not a lot of wind to speak of, just 7 kilometres per hour southerly on circuit. These guys will be hoping to get through this 7-lap sprint nice and cleanly. So we will look at qualifying. You can see the rain coming down now. Matthew Pluck really taking his time with 2 minutes to go. Is he going to leave it to the last minute to set a lap? We saw earlier today in the first qualifying session that in the 5 minutes that they had, there were several drivers who made a mistake, and it basically prevented any chance of them setting a lap. So we'll wait now to see Robert Murphy's Law Northway set his first time. There is only 2 minutes left in this qualifying session.
Well, it all comes back to what Robert Murphy's Law got now, which is clean air. You need that clean air. You don't need lap traffic, especially if you're doing a flying lap. So when you come out, if you've got 5 minutes, you want to warm your tyres up, get yourself some clean air, go for the flying lap. And that's what you would have probably seen with Matthew Bull Pluck doing. He would have probably just been waiting for a bit of space to get that clean air. Right now, we've only got one person actually on the board, which is Matthew Bull Pluck with a 2:35. And Robert Murphy's Law Northway, the Christchurch local, on his flying lap as we speak. So Pluck actually qualified first and won the race in Sprint Race 1. It was Madsey who qualified good in race in this qualifying order, but unfortunately he dropped all the way to position 7, so not good for him. Watch out for the Australian Kyle Madden on your left-hand side of the screen, because he's likely to jump back up quite high. Is Robert Northway done? He has gone straight to P1 with a 1:51 in the wet. That is way faster than Pluck's first lap, but obviously Pluck's still out on the flying lap as we speak. Seeker, the man who I said I would name if he wins the race tonight. I may regret that, coming in second position at the moment for qualifying.
So Matthew Pluck here is laying it all on the line here. He's only got 35 seconds to get round the final few corners, and he might get one more lap to go. I believe he will just sneak in with maybe 10 seconds left in the session. We watch now Matthew Pluck coming through the second to last corner, and he will set a flying lap in a moment's time. He will not have much time left on the clock, but he'll have maybe just a handful of seconds left to play with. Here we go, crosses the line, and he goes straight to pole position. He's got 5 seconds left in the session, so he will have more time to set one more lap. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him. Looks like John Baggs there up ahead, but I don't think it'll affect him. Pluck doing a 1:49.7, so that's a great lap, and he's actually decided to back out of it, so he's pretty confident that that will be enough. Northway has also pitted, and Seeker has pitted, so the top three deciding not to do another lap. Kyle Madden is the other one just coming through the hairpin now on his final lap. We wonder whether he will threaten the lap times. Unfortunately, we don't have any sector splits at the moment. We'll wait and see who will threaten the timesheets, but I don't think we'll see much in the way of changing the order. Info Agent, Damien Main and Fade and Pinkham now have all pitted. They've come into the lane. Dave Stone is down in P7. Bishop has come into the pit lane as well. Kyle Madden is the one that we're focusing on at the moment here with only a few seconds left in this session. Can he make some inroads and maybe threaten the front row? He is currently 3 seconds adrift though of the pole position time. Pluck a massive 1.6 seconds clear of Northway. And Kyle Madden's actually decided to come into the pit lane now, so he's aborted that lap. And he said, all right, P4, that's all I can do. So Bishop will come home P5. We wait and see whether Prinz, Crimson, Monkey Matt or Roberts can make any inroads here. Prinz was P3 in the last race, so he'll be disappointed that he's only 8th
P4
in this one.
P4 in Q1, and then he took out 3rd position in the actual race, which was it's a pretty good result. And a lot of these guys in the championship order, like we said earlier, Prinz is not doing too bad. He's sitting down sort of in 5th position. We're following the EVPs, the Dave Stones, the John Baggs, but here's the official results, ladies and gentlemen, for qualifying for sprint race number 2. Pluck sits in 1st position again. Murphy's Law, Northway, the Christchurch local, 2nd. Seeker up there as well. Kyle Madden up there. Simon Bishop. So John Baggs, 6th position. These are the guys, Dave Stone, that really need to deliver the results of this championship race. Prinz, Scythe Crimson in 9th position. Monkey Matt a bit further down the field there, Simon.
Yeah, a bit disappointing for him. 5.8 seconds off the lead there. EVP's just off the fringe of the top 10. Dave Elkie Roberts, Daniel Pinkham, Fade, Damien Main and Info Agent rounding out the running order.
All right, it is sprint race number 2, ladies and gentlemen. 7 laps in the rain from Circuit of Americas, an amazing circuit. Have you ever seen the guy with the motorbike that runs all the way back down the pit lane, jumps back on and goes to win the race? Is it Valentino Rossi?
No, Mark Marquez. That was crazy. Yeah.
There's some exceptional videos from this track. Check it out online. This doesn't do it justice. The elevation change coming into turn 1 when you're standing there. On pole position is Pluck, followed by Northway. Who will get it into turn 1? Seeker will be looking for the jump. Hasn't really had a race win, I don't think, this season. He'll be looking for the big glory. Gets a bit sideways. A lot of them get sideways coming off the start line. Here we go racing, Simon.
Well, this is a brilliant start here. Spray aplenty into turn 1. The championship leader, Pluck, manages to make his way through cleanly, but it looks like there's a bit of carnage further down the order. Maybe John Baggs getting sent around. Northway sitting there in P2. Seeker, you said he hasn't got any wins. He's got 2 this season.
He's actually got 2. My apologies.
So we go through the SS section through here. Simon Bishop looking to capitalise on a slow start there by Kyle Madden. Northway 8/10 adrift though at the moment as it stands, heading through these S's. Certainly Pluck making the most of these conditions. The sky's pretty light out there, so we might see the rain subside a little bit later on in this race. Simon Bishop trying to go around the outside here of Kyle Madden. Can he make a move into the hairpin? We wait and see who gets on the brakes the latest. Bishop all the way around the outside. Can you make it stick though? Doesn't look like it. Kyle Madden gets a good exit there with the inside line, a shorter line through the corner. Bishop just slotting in behind under rear wing. Will maybe look to make a pass down into the really tight left-hander in a moment's time. He dives out. We'll see, can he get through? Looks like it'll be an easy pass as long as he doesn't lock up the tyres. Great job there to get up into P4 there. So Simon Bishop making his way up towards the podium positions at the moment. He'll need to get past Seeker if he wants to get some valuable points, but it is Matthew Pluck who leads the way here on lap 1 of 7 in the slippery conditions at Circuit of the Americas. Northway is already dropped back just a little over a second. on this opening lap here. This triple apex right-hander, an awesome part of the circuit here in Texas. Kyle Madden trying to get one back on Simon Bishop at the end of lap 1 here. Bishop doing all that he can to make life difficult for the Australian, as he should. We see a bit of drama there behind. Prinz going a little bit wide. Doesn't occur in penalty though, so we can see now Bishop a little bit slower to the final corner. That opens up the door for Kyle Madden to make a move, but Madden just slots into P5 there. So on lap 1, it is Pluck who leads Northway, Seeker, Bishop, Madden, Prinz, Monkey Matt. We can see Kyle Madden now goes down the inside of Simon Bishop. Will they get through turn 1 cleanly? It looks like it at the moment. Bishop a little bit faster out of the corner, but Kyle Madden still hanging around the outside and gets a really good run through turn 2 to get P4 back in this race early on. Some great battling going on here early in this race, but it is Northway but is trying to make some headway at the moment and get past Pluck. Unfortunately, that margin is just sitting stable at a second at the moment. All things considered, we would have hoped for him to make up some places, considering that he was so fast at the back end of race 1.
Well, it was like a 5 to 8 second gap there between Pluck and Northway at one stage, so holding that 1 second deficit is not too bad. We saw John Baggs make a good move on Dave Stone earlier on, but the battle has been between Madsy and Bishop going on, and we have a look. Prinz now has a look on Bishop.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake there by Bishop going into the hairpin. Unfortunately, that opened the door up for Prinz, but it was a bit awkward halfway through the corner. Neither of them really committed to either defence or attack, and they both sort of just stayed in their position. So that's allowed Kyle Madden to get away. We watch now John Baggs sends it down the inside of Monkey Matt. Gets a position. Our cameraman is all over the place. Rob Northway, we're back on track with him though. Still just a second behind. If you want to get involved in the chat, ask us some questions. Curious to know anything about esports, about motorsport, get on twitch.tv, hit that search bar, look up Let's Play Live, get on the account.
Or if you're just joining us on Sky TV, you can check it all out on our Facebook, Twitter or Instagram as well. Let's Play Live HQ, and you can on to driven.co.nz to win your own drive. Thanks to Hampton Downs and Sky City. A drive, man, you could go down, Simon. You haven't done the Huracan, but you have done the Supra and many other flash cars, just like you see there. You've just got to enter the code. Race. It's as simple as that.
You ever driven around Hampton Downs at speed?
Yes.
It's a lot of fun, eh?
It's a lot of fun. Drifting around it too at
6
speed.
corners. It's only 6 corners, but they're very tricky.
Haven't done it in a supercar or anything as flash as maybe yourself. Here we go. Damien Knockside Main. Now this is another Australian. This is an ANZ championship. Takes a look on the inside, gets it on John Baggs. John Baggs having a bit of a mare on that one. Comes on turn 1, blocks it though. Damien Main has to step back, or no, he doesn't.
Gets a little bit loose there out of the corner, and that's going to open the door back up for John Baggs to get the place. We'll see they go side by side. Last time this happened for John Baggs, it ended in tears. Let's see how they go through this time. Oh, Damien Main really awkward through there, and they make contact. I said it was going to end in tears potentially, but they managed to make their way through without too much drama. John Baggs sends it back down the inside. There's some ambitious driving early on here at Circuit of the Americas. It is only lap 3 of 7. We approach the halfway point and Damien Main's gone. He's looped it all on his own. Maybe some residual damage from the contact earlier on. Brings it back around, but he has dropped all the way down to P15. He loses 5 places after a big mistake all on his own. So the
that
Aussie
is going to really upset it. He was looking at potentially getting into that top 8 of the championship. John Baggs, Syfe Crimson, Info Agent, Dave Stone, they're all fighting this week to get into the championship title fighting, get into that top 8 to come to LPL. But unfortunately for him, that pretty much is all she wrote. He's got to fight back. He can do it. Robert Northway's proved it time and time again. We go further up the field now. Simon Bishop, 9th position, looking at getting the pass.
Yeah,
that is on Daniel Pinkham, is it?
Yeah, possibly. I think, yeah, that's maybe Pinkham just ahead of him, but I think we might have missed a bit of a mistake there for Bishop, because Bishop was battling at one point for P4 with Kyle Madden, and now he's dropped all the way down into P9 there. Daniel Pinkham opening up the door, going a little bit wide there, so maybe just leading Bishop through, knowing that Bishop's just that little bit quicker. Pinkham drops back down to P9 and Bishop gets up into P8, but he's 20 seconds adrift of the lead. He's probably lost the best part of maybe 13 seconds to the leaders now. So we go back to the front of the field. It is Northway who sits in second behind Pluck. Pluck a second and a half now in the lead. Are we going to see maybe the same strategy as the last race, just sort of maintain a gap at the start and then maybe hustle towards the end here? There are only a couple laps left here
Pluck is a calculated textbook driver. If the mistake's going to come, and I don't mean to sound mean to Robert, but the mistake will come from Robert. Pluck has made very little mistakes in this championship. He's had a lot of first places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 or 7 first places, lots of seconds, and that's why he leads, and that's how you win championships. You don't push yourself, you just do what you've got to do to win. And that's the big difference here. Seeker's having an amazing race as well, but one of the men you've got to watch, 7th position, Dave Stone. He's sitting right on the bubble at the moment to be dropped out of that top 8. So he's doing good. He knows this week is crucial for him. Further down the field, EVP right now, we look at him as Dave Roberts takes a look, a bit of bump and grind there from EVP and Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
We hear from the Motorsport New Zealand judicials. Well, we actually won't quote that. They're Motorsport New Zealand judicials. It's really just Ricky in race control right now, dishing out
minus 20 points.
Minus 20 points we hear in
the ban habit is coming down early
on in the night air. Interesting looking at the standings, Brendan. Matthew Pluck has only finished off the podium once all season, and that was in race 2 of the championship. So Matthew Pluck has been Mr. Consistent all season. Murphy's Law...
It's like Scott McLaughlin or Gaz Wider or Drift, isn't he?
Scott Dixon in this instance. Murphy's Law has finished 9th and 5th on 2 occasions, but as well...
the comeback kid, right?
Yeah, as well though, he's also been on the podium in every other race. He's got 4 wins to his name this season. Matthew Pluck has 7 though,
and that's sort of been the difference, I guess, between these two. The points stepping out to about 94, I believe, before we came into tonight. Northway, we said it at the start of the program, just needed to get a leg up on Pluck. As we see one car spin out ahead, we'll look to find out who that was.
Well, we have EVP having a little battle right now with Info Agent. Info Agent, Shane T. Mang, he's Puhoi local. He was in last season. And Info Agent, we would have seen, he's from Christchurch. I think we might have missed his little mockumentary that he had made up for the series last week when we had a skip on air. I'm not sure if we did play that or not. We unfortunately were silenced in the commentary.
They had enough.
They had enough of us. Simon Bishop now, 7th position. The 2 guys that do Monkey Matt, Simon Bishop, they're being very, consistent in the same on this race. They're sitting in the same positions either before or after. Dave Stone now chucks it away. I was saying only a lap before how important this was. He was in 7th position. He needs to be in the championship. He was sitting right on the bubble, and he's just chucked that all the way down to 11th. As now Damien Knoxide Main or someone goes out, and that will be 20 championship points more than likely from Ricky as well. 4 wheels off the track. A lot of tracks actually have sensors these days, don't they? They can sense if you actually take the corner out wide.
Yeah, they generally attract quite a lot of controversy though, because you watch the replays on the tally and the drivers generally go, oh, I didn't cut the corner. Use your eyes. So technology can be a little bit tricky in these instances. The one thing that's really criminal on this simulator is we see a little bit of contact there between Damien Knoxide Main. In qualifying, if you make a mistake and you go off the circuit, not only does it scrap your one lap, it scraps the next one. So that makes things really tough.
Yeah, massive manoeuvre there from EVP trying to avoid Main as Main's on a mission. EVP sitting in 12th position at the moment. Someone that really, really needs to deliver too, because they're further down the field. Well, they're actually right on the bump. EVP is sitting right in 7th position on the bump. Damien Main, the Australian, he obviously wants to come to LPO in week 8, but right now sitting way down the field in 13th or 14th position. Needs to deliver some goods. Dave Stone now trying to make the comeback kid, but 14th position, just not going to do it.
So we have only got roughly 2 laps left here at Circuit of the Americas. Pluck has extended that margin only a little bit, up to 2 seconds. Northway was quicker on that last lap by the best part of a second, but if he's going to make up a margin of 3 seconds with only a couple of laps to go, he's got to have to do something special here in these Indy cars. Lots of area to play with, a bit like a Formula 1 car, but like a spec series, almost like Formula 2 in many ways. We see a bit of a shunt there. Dave Stone getting into the back there. Is that Info Agent? I think maybe
yes, it is.
At the back of the field. These boys are playing for the wooden spoon, but playing like it is the Stanley Cup.
Well, John Baggs right now, he's sitting in 8th position, so he's on the bubble there, and he's sort of he's the only player up the top of the field that's on the bubble that's trying to get championship points. It's not a lot. 200 points up for grabs in the feature race, 100 points up for grabs in these sprint races. Pluck currently sitting on pole position, or on the position to grab that lap 6, 2 seconds ahead of Robert Northway. As we go to the other Australian, Kyle Madden from Brisbane, locked and loaded, sitting in 4th position, 1 second behind Seeker and a big 8 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, really closing in here on this last lap. Seeker just a second and a bit ahead of Kyle Madden. I'm not sure that we're going to see much of a change here on this last lap on any front. Northway does a 1:55, Pluck does a 1:56, so unless there's a big mistake from Pluck, I don't think we'll see any changes up the front here.
There's been all sorts of drama down the field, stuff that may attract the attention of Ricky in race control. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out tonight. Certainly next week. We might have quite a long segment at the start of next week's episode about all the penalties that might be dished out. Surely a lot of complaints coming at the end of tonight.
Well, it's getting to the pointy end of the field, really, where people are putting in a lot of time, they're practicing a lot, and there's a lot on the line. You know, there's money on the line, there's the time that they've invested. So it is where people in the championship fight, you would see them, I guess, petitioning. Last lap here, lap 77, Matthew Bull Pluck.
And don't forget as well, this championship is a good stepping stone up to bigger and greater things. We saw Daniel Shields last season I should say, is now racing for Mercedes AMG in the World Formula One Esports Championship. You know, how good is that? A little Australian coming out of a little ANZ championship and is making it big on the world stage now. So Matthew Pluck,
literally little.
He's quite short. Yeah. In Formula One, in real life, you'd be an asset being so little and lightweight, but in esports it doesn't really matter. But we are coming through the last 2 corners here. Matthew Pluck has edged out over Northway, realising he's not going to be able to catch his fellow Christchurch local. Matthew Pluck will come out of the final corner and claim back-to-back wins here at Circuit of the Americas. He sweeps this circuit away and takes the race win again. Northway comes home P2, 3 seconds adrift. Oh, and it was getting close there between Kyle Madden and Seeker, but Seeker will hold on to P3 there in the race. Kyle Madden comes home P5. Krenz will be a distant P5 there, 16 seconds behind the lead as we wait now to see the rest of the field come through. Monkey Matt just holding on ahead of Simon Bishop. Bishop doing a good job to recover after a mistake there midway through the race, ahead of John Baggs, who rounds the final corner now. S-Wave Crimson will come home 9th, just ahead of Daniel Pinkham. A good result there for Pinkham, a top 10 for him, much needed in this championship. And it is just a matter of time before we get the last few competitors across the finish line. To complete race 2 here at Circuit of the Americas, super tight at the back. Not sure that these positions will stay the same pending penalties. Who knows how that could play out.
So if you want to get amongst the chat, ask us some questions, get onto twitch.tv, search Let's Play Live, get on the live stream there, send in some questions. You can head to driven.co.nz and win your chance to get into the draw to drive a Lamborghini Huracan around Hampton Downs.
Well, I think we are actually going to be joined by someone who knows all about driving Huracans next week. Motorsport New Zealand, we might actually have an official come in, one of the competitor relations, Alton Noonan. So it'd be great to see him come in. Hopefully he's able to make it up from Wellington. We're going to hear all about the different things that happen in motorsport in New Zealand, whether it be race, rally, on the track, off the track. We go to the official results just like you would in a race. Who's going to get pole position? Well, it is no surprise. Matthew Bull Pluck. There is actually no changes in first, second, third or fourth position from the last race, or sorry, from qualifying. So the same as qualifying is the race results. Seeker, Kyle Madden out of Brisbane, Australia, picking up 4th position. Krenz picking up 5th position. Monkey Matt, Simon Bishop, the 2 internationals, 6th and 7th. John Baggs, he will be happy with that because he is on that bump. Sype Crimson, another one that will be happy with that result. Daniel Pinkham in 10th position.
Just outside the top 10 there is Damien Knoxside Main. Ahead of him was Daniel Pinkham, so Daniel Pinkham getting a valuable top 10 position. EVP comes home 12th, Dave Stone, Info Agent Dave Elkie Roberts, and Fade rounding out the order. Good to see everyone making the race and no DNFs.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the first 2 sprint races done and dusted. We've been at Circuit of Americas for those, but we're now into the feature race. We will go to that very shortly, and that will be at Sonoma Raceway. It's a new one. We haven't actually been there before in Project Cars. It's going to be exciting. So get yourself a drink, get onto driven.co.nz, enter that race category, and you could win your drive. And we'll be back with you very shortly after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's Let's Play Live, and right now we have Ola, LPL AU, LPL NZ. Just download it on the Google Play Store or the App Store for Apple, and first ride's on Ola. Simple as that. My name is Brendan White, and I'm joined in studio by Simon Chapman. This is the Let's Play Live Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. We're in round 6, Series 3, $6,500 on the line, and we've just seen 2 sprint races. Matthew Ballpluck, Kyle Madden, is anyone going to knock them off the perch?
Well, hopefully Robert Northway. You know, he's the man sitting there in P2 in this championship. He needs to hustle, though, in this last race. Hope that Pluck has a bad result and he can really close that 100-point gap that it's probably out to by now.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Circuit of America's done. We wipe that off their cards and we go to Sonoma Raceway. Cali, we're going back to Cali, Simon.
Certainly still hot here at Sonoma Raceway. We are on the IndyCar course. 13 turns, totaling 3.8 kilometres. The lap record around here set by Joseph Newgarden in 2017, a 1 minute 15.520. So we'll have to wait and see whether our drivers can beat the time set by the former IndyCar champion. Certainly a tough circuit, and especially in these conditions, 43 degrees out on track, not a breath of wind in the sky, and it is certainly clear skies above, with the circuit at 31 degrees. Formerly known as Sears Point and Infineon Raceway, this one used to host the IndyCar final, but we're back.
All right, so we're back to qualifying here at Sonoma, and this is a cool track. There's high speed, there's big elevation changes, off camber, on camber. It is the shorter course, it's not the long hairpin which gets you to be booting it down the front straight.
Slightly shorter. Yeah.
Slightly shorter. Get a bit sideways there on Matthew Ballpluck, so they come down the hill through this section. So watch your left-hand side of the screen, already a red mark against Robert Northway's name, so I'm not sure if that is a penalty for going off the track. That's usually what it means. Again, Motorsport New Zealand dishing it out. Not actually physically, it's just Ricky in race control, but that's okay.
Just bear in mind too that the game can actually apply penalties.
Don't say that to the people.
As
don't blame it on Ricky.
Decides. So Northway might have just made a mistake there, went wide, potentially impeded another car. And Project Cars 2 AI officials have been like, you know what? You docked 2 points, two places.
And if you guys are at home and just joining us, what you see actually at this track, it is very realistic. So, for example, the wash we saw a little bit of a battle going on here, which is not what you really want to see in qualifying. It's Matthew Pluck.
Wow.
Not really knowing what's going on. These guys are usually looking for clean air, not going door to door, side by side.
Yeah, that was crazy there, Matthew Pluck. He's only got 6 minutes left, and that's, he's going to pull over. He's decided he's had enough. All sorts of tomfoolery going on at the end of that lap there, with traffic getting in his way. He's decided to come into the pit lane, just get out of all that dirty air, bolt on a new set of tyres and maybe just set another lap. So he's obviously decided that that was a bit too much. Robert Northway getting super sideways there, all on his own. Through the second sector there. Northway doing a 1:16 now. That's his best time today.
We're just about to talk about realism here. So the track, you see thousands and thousands of photos are taken of these tracks. Like you see the curbs. These curbs are actually the same dimensions, the same gradients, the same off camber as what you would do if you're going to compete at Sonoma. We saw it at my Motorsport Park last week, same as right down to the signs you see on the walls. And it's the same with the cars and the similarities as they act. So because it was wet last week, the wash, as they say, coming off the cars made it near impossible for the guys to actually have a good race and pass calculated. So was it Robert Northway that was saying that on the Twitch stream? So if you're just tuning in on Sky, you can actually download Twitch and jump on that. It's an app on the App Store, and you can search Let's Play Live, and you can chat away with the players as Robert Northway gets sideways again, D1NZ styles, and you can chat away to Simon as well, who's watching the stream as we go through the race. This is the main race from Sonoma. How many laps have we got on this race, Simon?
I think I read something like 25. It'll be a big one.
It'll be a big one. 25 laps in clear sky from Kelly. Bishop goes into the pits. Kyle Madden still in the pits at the moment, a 1:16 for Northway. So we're looking at who's going to get pole position up the front straight, up the hill into turn 1 and then over to the right-hander. Kyle Madsen, the Australian, he is definitely going to be wanting to deliver this one. If you look at championship points and you look at who wants that $2,500 for first prize, $6,500 total prize pool next week, well, he needs to deliver the goods in this race.
Yeah, 100%. He needs to make up some time if he wants to be competing for the top 3. Robert Murphy's Law, he's got the pole position at the moment ahead of Madden. Madden is 5/10 ahead. That might bring an end to Northway's running. He's got that red marker against his name, so that might drop him down a place or 2 on the grid. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Pluck is only down in P4 here, but obviously the circuit quite long, quite fast and quite flowing, proving to be a little bit difficult at the moment. He's 1.7 seconds adrift of the top time, but now he's been displaced at the top. Northway. Seeker goes to pole position now by just 0.05 of a second.
Seeker, you don't want to do that. Well, you do if you want the championship points, but it also means that we're going to let everybody know who this famous racer is from Christchurch.
Mate, I think we should just wait until the final. Get him into the studio, do the Stig style reveal, take the helmet off, take the fox head off.
The fox suit. Great thing about gaming, these guys are tuned in from Australia and New Zealand, so we actually, well, most of them, we know their gamer names, which is, if you're just tuning in, Matthew Pluck doesn't he has Bull as the gamer name. So a lot of these guys have gamer names, but they also have their real names. But Seeker would not let us say his real name on air. But the producers handed us a bit of paper. Pluck back up there as he comes up over the hill. 100th
of a second now to pole position now. Pluck goes to pole. Seeker in second, Northway in third now. Northway, I think, is that just him up ahead in P3 there, trying to set another lap here. Oh, Pluck goes wide and he's off the track, and that will ruin the rest of his qualifying, no doubt. Don't know if he'll get a penalty for that one, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't think there's been any infringement for that. He stays blue on the left-hand side as it is. Northway, though, he's got that red marker, so he's obviously done something wrong.
If you're in qualifying, you're only disadvantaging yourself if you come off the racetrack. So is it that maybe Northway disadvantage someone else?
Potentially.
Why would you get a penalty for in qualifying for disadvantaging yourself?
Yeah, so, you know, in the real world, if you make a mistake and you come back onto the track, potentially you're slow, and another car, we see Seeker go off by himself, another car who's on a flying lap comes up behind you and has to slow down, potentially losing a bit of time. That means that, you know, you've impeded them. So they will adjudicate that and hand out a penalty as they see fit. As we watch Simon Bishop now, he is currently sitting down the order.
We always push the limits. It might have been that Northway came off, came back on. Kyle Madden currently still sitting in first position with a 1:16.59. Not much. Ooh, as the Australian Super 6 is over the top of the hill, straight back onto the track. What a recovery there.
Crazy.
Pluck in second, Seeker, Northway, all in the 1:16. Simon Bishop in the 1:18. Will he jump up on his flying lap? Only a minute to go here, ladies and gentlemen, the main feature race. I really like this track.
Well, it's proving to be super close at the moment because there is just 0.159 between first and fourth. The margins between the top 4 are so close at the moment. Simon Bishop's a mile away. He's 1.6 seconds behind down P5. But the top 4 here at the moment split by only a whisker, basically, at this point. There is only a minute left to go here. Robert Northway, he'll be able to complete this lap and maybe one more. He needs to improve, though, if he wants to make it onto the second row or even the first row as it stands. He's got a penalty next to his name, maybe just 1 or 2 places. Hopefully nothing too drastic that'll take him out of the competition. Most importantly, though, he needs to get ahead of Matthew Bull Pluck. We wait now and see. He will cross the line in a moment's notice. Can he improve on this lap? Sure does. Goes to provisional pole position. The first man to duck below the 1:16. He does a 1:15.53. Wow, crazy. He's a whole second ahead of the rest of the pack now. So those margins we were talking about was super slim just a moment ago as he goes for another spin. Robert Northway parks it in the wall. He's on pole, but he will have a penalty next to his name. Kyle Madden on his final lap. Can he displace Northway and potentially add some salt to the wound for Northway, who sits on top of the standings? Madden has effectively got pole position now because we know that Northway has got a penalty. We will wait and see how much of a penalty it is, but Kyle Madden, maybe he's listening in, has heard us and decides to come into the pit lane. Pluck will come home in P3 at the moment unless he can complete another lap and hopefully displace either Northway or Madden. The car looking super loose there, maybe just overheating the tyres too much. 40 degrees out on track here, so it is super slippery here at Sonoma Raceway.
72 seconds left for these guys to bank laps. Left-hand side of your screen, if you're new to this, everyone in pit means that they've had enough, that's them done for qualifying. Northway with a 1:15.52. Is it going to be enough on his penalty? Did you say it's a 1 second penalty, 2 second, or you don't know?
We'll have to wait and see once this session is complete. Only a moment away from seeing the results here. A few guys still out on a flying lap, but I imagine we won't see much in the way of changes in the order. So here it is. We're on board here with Robert Murphyslaw Northway. We wait for the results here. So Northway gets a 2-place grid penalty to his name. We'll have to see whether that's applied. So he'll go down to the second row. So it is Kyle Madden who will be on pole position there. Matthew Bull-Pluck alongside him. Northway will line up immediately behind Kyle Madden in P3. Seeker down in P4. Prins in P5. 2 seconds across the top 5 runners there. Simon Bishop comes home in P6. Monkey Matt, S-Wave, Crimson, Fade and John Baggs round out your top 10 here at Sonoma Raceway. We wait and see now. Dave Stone, Daniel Pinkham, Info Agent, Dave Elke Roberts and EVP. That is your top 15 order. Unfortunately, Damien Knoxside Main has not made the start of this race. His computer froze before the start, before we could get underway. So we look now. Kyle Madden is your man on pole position. Staggered start here. You can see Pluck just behind him to the right. Northway will start from P3. He was the quickest man out on track though, so look for him to make some moves early on, and hopefully, maybe for his sake, Pluck doesn't get the best result in this race. He'll be hoping that Pluck finishes probably in the realm of about P7 or P8 or P9, because that'll give him a good chance going into the final round next week I should say, to get a really strong result. So this is the final race here, 25 laps of Sonoma Raceway. If you want to get amongst the chat, get involved, ask us some questions, get on twitch.tv, hit up Let's Play Live, come have a yarn with us.
Going through the grid there, further down the field, Dave Stone. So these are the guys a bit further down the field that really have to deliver in this race, like I said in the sprint races, to get through to the final, because next week it's do or die. But if we go further back up the field, 200 points up for grabs for this race, double the sprint races. Madsy, Kyle Madden, watch this guy. He needs the 200 points. Currently sitting on 1440. 1,856 points as Matthew Bull-Pluck. As we go off the line, Matthew Bull-Pluck on the right-hand side of your screen, and he goes straight in there, Simon.
Wow, a stellar start there from Pluck to get alongside Madden. He's going to get the inside line into turn 2. Can he displace the Australian? Not quite. It looks like Madden has managed to maintain the lead of this race. Northway just looks on a P3, wondering whether these two at the front of the field will make a mistake, but it is Northway who goes off the track. Can he recover? Goes a little bit deep into the corner. It's lost him a bit of time, but unfortunately he's managed to maintain P3 there, and Bishop doesn't quite capitalise on the mistake. So it is Kyle Teacher Medziayu who leads for the first time tonight, but he's under a lot of pressure from Pluck as they head into the hairpin. Pluck there, just 4/10 adrift. Getting to the end of lap 1 here, certainly goes by pretty quick in these high downforce single seaters. Pluck and Madden getting out onto the grass for a moment there. The wheels just under rotating a little bit as they come into the chicane. Hopefully not too much drama on the opening lap here. As we can see now, Northway, he's dropped back the best part of 1.8 seconds now, so unfortunately, despite being the man to beat in qualifying, he's dropped back and he's under pressure now from Bishop. Bishop was hustling to get by him at the hairpin at the end of lap 1, but we will focus on this battle for the lead. Pluck hustling to get by Kyle Madden on lap 2. It's 25 laps here of Sonoma Raceway. Plenty of time to make your move. Plenty of time to strategize, plenty of time to watch your driver ahead of him, as we see Madden, I was going to say, plenty of time to watch the guy ahead of you make mistakes and figure out when to get by.
Up off that top of the hill there, so watch that every time. We've seen Northway make the mistake, we've seen Kyle Madden make the mistake. come in there. It's almost like they get weightless as they pop up over the top.
Yeah, well, the fascinating thing is a lot of these guys are talking about the aero wash that you have. You know, when you're following a car in front of you, it disturbs the air and it makes it hard to overtake. But, you know, when you're leading, you've got clean air. You shouldn't be worrying too much about that. So Kyle Madden, an uncharacteristic mistake. He's certainly pushing the limits. He's under pressure from Pluck. The man who really needs to make the most of this opportunity is Northway. He's 2 seconds adrift of the lead at the moment, and these two are getting away from him. So Kyle Madden is already on the defensive at the end of lap 2 here, and Northway should be hustling to catch up to these two at the front of the field and maybe make the most of any issues, I guess, between these two.
Well, Northway's got clean air at the moment as Madden takes another closure onto Pluck. Pluck's just looking, he's sitting there now. If I was Kyle Madden, I would be kind of a bit nervous right now. This race is a championship decider potentially for Kyle Madden, so the pressure is on him out in the lead. Is it better just to let Pluck pass him? But if you let Pluck, the guy that's been Mr. Consistent,
Oh, he's gone.
Race,
Is he gone? He's spun.
Gone. No.
Oh, the commentator's
I didn't mean to let him go like that much.
Oh, no, and
Northway just slips on by, still manages to stay in third position. Will he be able to be the comeback kid? He needs the championship points.
Well, I was just about to say before he went around, if you can't Madden, you want to get those valuable 200 points to your credit, because Seeker is down in P5 at the moment. The disparity between first to fifth, I believe, is around 50 points. And the margin between the two going into this round, probably around 50 points. So, you know, a really crucial mistake there from Kyle Madden. Unfortunately, that's dropped him down into P3. We watch now. Again, same thing, comes over the crest, gets a little bit loose, gets out onto the dirt and just does a big old Super 6 and surrenders the lead.
It's like no matter what, you come over that hill, you get weightless and you just got to ride it out of you on the wrong angle. That's all she wrote.
Amateur hour, unfortunately, here for Kyle Madden. He's dropped back down to P3 and he's fighting for his life to keep Bishop and Seeker behind. More importantly, keep Seeker behind.
Look, Seeker has had, Seeker does the pass on New Zealand Simon Bishop. Does he close it? Or Simon Bishop up on the right-hand side? Seeker does the business.
Well, does Bishop know that he's not fighting for a championship here and is saying, you know, I'll let these two battle it out. They're in the championship battle.
Oh, Simon Bishop now gets sideways, same position.
Another mistake there. So 2 laps in a row, we've seen someone spin there.
Crimson gets the pass.
He's going to lose another position here, I think, as well. Struggling to find out where he is. He's 6 now. Sorry, Crimson and Pren. So Monkey Mac gets up into P5 there. Side by side they go, the 2 Playtech cars trying to get past. Crimson now through the carousel. So it is Pluck who leads here ahead of Northway. Northway will need to hustle for all he's got to get up into the lead of this race and hope that Pluck makes some sort of mistake here, because as it stands, it's not going to be enough to eat into that championship deficit that he's got with just 2 rounds to go. Pretty much guaranteed to get into the top 8 land final here at Sky City Theatre. Makes a little bit of a mistake there into the hairpin, but not guaranteed to get the overall championship. The overall championship obviously is decided next week. We crown our regular series title winner, and they will win $2.5 grand.
Now, I guess this is one of the cool things. Look, if Pluck runs away with it after this one, if he runs away with it after this week and he sort of takes the championship outright next week, there's still 1 week to go. The slate is clear. Who's going to be Bathurst champion? There's
also something to consider as well. You've got drop rounds, so we're not really sure how that's going to play in terms of the championship battle. My understanding is that week 7, you can't use that as a drop round. As we see Friends go for a spin there. Unfortunately, down the order, that won't help his championship challenge, sitting P5 at the moment. So, you know, for someone like Robert Northway, in round 1, he had a 2nd and a 9th. And then his worst round after that, I believe, was a 3rd and a 5th. So how that's going to play out as well with Matthew Bull Pluck, he'll probably want to take the first round out, where even though he got a win, he was 5th in race 2. So
you have to drop the whole round, or you can choose?
I believe you have to drop the whole round. So it does make things a little bit tricky in terms of what these guys are going to do at the end of this championship. That could really have some big championship implications, because at the end of it, Matthew Bull Pluck he's only going to get rid of his worst result. So he's going to get rid of the 5th at least.
But then either side of that, he's got a win and a win.
He's got 2 really good ones.
You know, so
well, his lead, if he takes out this lead anyway, he's going to be 200 points ahead of everyone as well. So I don't think it's Pluck that we've got to really worry about. It's further down the field of who's going to drop. So,
but it could bring Robert Northway right back into contention. You know, these two have effectively only had 2 bad results to their name. You know, Matthew Bull Pluck in round 1 he had a 5th, and Murphy's Law had a 2nd and a 9th, and then he had a 3rd and a 5th. So all things considered, these guys could end up relatively square on points once it's all played out. We will probably know by the end of next weekend where everyone stands. It'll be hard for these guys to do the math really quickly. They have to get the calculators out and get the spreadsheets working, and hopefully we'll be able to crown a champion fairly quickly as we see Robert Northway. He's managed to catch up to Pluck.
3 of a second. Oh, jumps back out to 0.5. I've been watching that. He's done pretty well, but just another little mistake there which pushes the gap back out. But oh, big mistake there.
Wow. So.
Oh, he took pit. Did he take pit on purpose?
Yeah, that was fascinating.
Because you saw Pluck lock it up. Was it an evasive manoeuvre?
Oh, I want to see a replay of that. That was really weird. So Northway and Madden have both come into the pit lane. So these guys deciding that they're going to get a new set of tyres. I don't know, in the regulations where these guys had to make a pit stop.
Oh, you should know this. You're the technical guy, Simon.
I'm pretty sure they don't have to do a stop around here. Maybe the tyres don't last an entire race around here. Remember, we are on the red sidewall. That means it's a soft compound tyre.
All right.
And then if you go onto a black, that's a hard compound tyre. So we'll have to wait and see whether Northway comes out on a hard compound tyre. We'll wait and see, get a shot of him in a moment. But here comes a replay of what looked like was going to be an incident. We thought Northway was just going to go spearing into the back of Pluck. Let's have a look. Far out. Yeah, Pluck certainly had the anchors on. Northway went to his outside to get into the pit lane. There is Pluck now, who still leads. Curious to know whether that will help Northway or hinder him. He's dropped back down into P8 now. And we look now, so he has got the soft compound tyre on. We've got a couple of people in the chat there. Damien Knockside Main may be able to provide us some insight as to whether or not these guys really do need to make a pit stop, or whether Pluck can go all the way to the finish here. Maybe the tyres just don't last the entire distance, or maybe Northway, the amount of time he's going to spend in pit lane doesn't really matter.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, I know, it's an odd one, eh? Maybe he's able to make up some time on these soft compound tyres, who knows? It seems a little bit early to be pitting.
Well, they're all locking up in that section though, aren't they? Like, you just saw 1, 2, 3 cars all lock up their brakes coming down into that hairpin back onto the front straight. John Baggs currently sitting in the 7th position. Someone who's definitely on the bubble as they come up over the hill to the point where everybody's been having the mistakes up here. They have a left, and as they come up onto the right-hander here, are we going to see any mistakes coming on there? No, they just slow it down. So when it's been a battle up over that top part of the hill, you've definitely seen a lot of people just get loose and chuck it away. What do you know, Simon?
Well, Damien's chimed in and he said it's not mandatory to make a pit stop, but depending on the track temperature,
Kyle Madden
and how hot it is,
goes to pit, also gets a penalty.
Well, and it looks like we've had a few competitors drop out of the competition, unfortunately. We've only got 12 competitors left in this race. Northway is currently 8th. He's 39 seconds adrift though, and we're waiting for him to complete his first flying lap since coming into the pit lane. So that pit stop cost him a lot of time. So Damien was saying, depending on the track temperature and how hot it is, tyre wear can just ruin your race. So Matthew Bull Pluck is still setting some pretty competitive lap times. He's done a 1:17 that time by. The thing that confuses me though, he's just lost all the pressure behind him. He's got an 8-second margin now. So Pluck doesn't even need to push. He can just cruise to the end.
No sense whatsoever to pit. But then again, the degradation of these tyres, we're only on lap 9 of 25. As we get up to potentially 15. These guys have practiced a lot. Don't discount Robert Northway. We've seen this in previous races where some have stayed out and some haven't, and it's been so close to the wire.
Yeah, fascinating. Obviously, Silverstone was one where we saw tyre strategy almost work in favour of Northway. It didn't in the end. See on his last lap there, he did a 1:16.499 in clear area. Pluck did a 1:17.570. Is he maybe trying to get an undercut? Is he expecting Pluck to pit? That's the only thing that can logically make sense in my mind, especially considering he's now all the way down in 8th and he's surrendering a lot of points. Why not just stay out there and try and get the track position ahead of Pluck? It doesn't make any sense in my mind why he'd want to come into the pit lane so early on in this race.
Well, further up the field, you've got Pluck, Seeker, Monkey Matt, Simon Bishop and Preen's nice and close there together. There's Crimson actually and John Baggs. Those are two drivers, Crimson, Scythe Crimson and John Baggs. They're both sitting behind each other at the moment. So John Baggs and Scythe Crimson are on the bump. Seeker further up the field, currently in second position. He's had a stellar of a championship for someone that we don't know anything about. Preen's, on the other hand, now battling, is that battling Simon Bishop or is it battling Scythe Crimson? Simon Bishop, so he's going for Simon Bishop at the moment. Preen's Todd Murray out of Wellington. You don't often actually hear these guys' names.
No. Unfortunately, it looks like Info Agent has had some issues with his internet. So the IndyCar curse has taken out a few competitors. We had such a good run as well. We had pretty much everyone compete across the first two races without any issues, but obviously
It's getting a bit hot and heavy in Sonoma.
Well, 117 by Pluck up on the front, but also 117 by Robert Northway, so no tactical advantage what we see on those tyres. So, whether we're going to see that.
Pluck's in the pit, lap 10 here.
Wow.
He's come into the lane, so can Northway execute an effective undercut? He was certainly quicker on that last lap. We wait and see now. We'll focus on Matthew Pluck. Can we get a visual on Northway? Where is he at the moment? Here he comes through the final few corners. This could get really close. We'll have to wait and see in a moment's notice. Cleanly through the chicane. Let's get a look on Pluck. He's still in the pit lane.
Oh, that's
Coming
a long
through
pit
the
stop.
final corner. He's still navigating through the pit lane. Here we go. Pluck, he's on his way out. Is he going to get out in front of Northway? Here comes Northway. Has he got... Here he comes. He's coming around the outside and he's got him.
Oh,
Wow, a master stroke and strategy here for Robert Northway. He's executed the undercut to perfection. We questioned the move. Was it going to work? Was the undercut going to work? We didn't even think that Pluck was going to pit. But he's come into the lane and he's come out behind Northway. The only issue is now, though, that Pluck is on fresher tyres now, which are about 4 laps newer than Northway's. Northway potentially will struggle towards the end of this race. So they're coming for another pit stop. Who knows? These guys were pitting relatively early in the race here. Can they go all the way to the finish? Already Pluck is hustling to get past Robert Murphy's Law. Northway here. He goes a little bit wide of the apex, knowing that Pluck is in his rear view mirror. Pluck certainly making the most of those new fresher tyres. This is the battle effectively for the race lead. We wait and see, will the guys further down the order, or further up the order I should say, will they opt to stay out and try and run all the way to the finish? Maybe a bit of strategy still to play out in this race. Northway, 26 seconds adrift of the lead as it stands on lap 12 here at Sonoma.
Well, it's all Northways to lose at the moment. The pressure is on from the championship leader, Matthew Ball Pluck. 2 Christchurch locals. Seeker sitting out in the front with it 118. So look, they're not cutting. You look at the times, they're cutting 117. So there must be something that they know later on in the race. We're looking at 18, lap 19, because 1 second over 25 laps, it's hard to justify. The pressure is on. Robert Northway, though, you know he doesn't do well under pressure, but you can do it, Northway, because I don't want to jinx him, especially if he's listening. Back at home at the moment, Pluck is such a calculated driver. He would just sit there, slightly apply the pressure, but nothing that will push him off the track.
Oh, he looks to the inside here. Is he going to try and make a move down into the hairpin? Doesn't look like it. There's a car over here that's spinning out. Who's that? We'll wait and see. I think maybe one of the cars that was a lap down, just looping it all on his own. The benefit that Northway has at the moment is that the circuit doesn't have a heck of a lot of long straights. So there's no real opportunities to get a big draft and try and overtake on the long straights. Still though, lots of corners to play with, and it's certainly making life difficult here for Northway at the moment. The tricky thing is that if these guys battle too much, they'll lose too much time to the leaders, who have been cutting relatively quick
Bit of bump and
times.
grind there. The thing is, Northway knows he cannot let Pluck pass him, so he's going to have to be defensive in his driving. This is the point where he's going to try to pass, or Northway is going to chuck it away up on the top of the hill. Because if we let Pluck, look at the Seeker and Preen's now pitting, so they are all pitting. So there's obviously a pit needed in this race. Here we go, up over the hill.
Wow,
Oh, Pluck
super
nearly
loose.
chucks it away. That's
Crazy.
where we're going to see the mistake, ladies and gentlemen, but Robert has to stay out in front. If he lets Pluck pass him, that is it. He will not catch him.
It's amazing how realistic the circuit is. Pluck, he's gone off on his own.
Away. Pluck, you better not have been listening at home.
Mr. White, you've done that about 3 times tonight. Pluck goes off all on his own. I was about to say that the circuit is really living up to its real-life counterpart. The guys are coming over the brow, the car's getting really loose, and it's stepping out all on their own. And Pluck has made a mistake, a much-needed mistake for Northway. I'm not sure whether or not it's going to be enough for Pluck to lose too many positions. We watch now. Here we go. Here's the replay. Comes over the brow, gets on the brakes, and the rear just steps out on him. He has to correct. Gets the front pointing in the right direction, just scrapes the tyre wall there, so hopefully not too much damage to that car, and he can carry on without too many issues. But the net result of that
3 seconds
is that Pluck is now the best part of 4 seconds away from the lead now. So Northway gets past John Baggs and Seeker.
Now it's your 2 internationals, Monkey Matt and Simon Bishop. The only ones that haven't come in ahead of Northway to pit.
You know, the fascinating thing at the moment as well, Northway came into pit, he's put on those fresh tyres. The guys who are out in front haven't pitted, and he's already managed to bring that gap down to 8 seconds. It was the best part of 40 seconds before, just after he came out of the pit lane. So Monkey Matt and Bishop, whether or not they are trying to go long and all the way to the finish of this race, I'm not sure. We see one car go off on their own. Northway 8 seconds off the lead, Pluck down in P4. So Pluck luckily hasn't lost too much time to Northway.
Right, now on board with Monkey Matt, who leads but hasn't pitted. Lapping on 119. Bishop with a 120. Northway cutting 118. So 2 seconds faster than the person he's catching at the moment. Pluck with a 121. Obviously because of that mistake. Monkey Matt now.
Wow, Monkey Matt, okay, not sure what was happening there. Monkey Matt, I think he tried to come into the pit lane and then decided not to. So he's let Pluck and Northway go by. Bishop has come into the pit lane all the while.
So that's going to give a free kick to just about everyone, because he's gone and done a joker lap essentially. That's cost him too much time. So Northway...
Did he just get that wrong?
He must have. I don't know. That was a really odd one from Monkey Matt. He slowed down. That last lap was a 130, so it cost him 12 seconds alone.
He's done it again. Look, he slowed down again.
Well, this is bizarre. Is he stopping? Monkey Matt, has he got technical issues? We'll wait and see now. He's just stopped out on track. Has he run out of fuel? Certainly a possibility here. And he's coming to the lane. So, Monkey Matt has just gone. Monkey Matt is out of the race. So, unfortunately, a DNF for Monkey Matt. And that will have a huge implication on the championship standings coming into the final. He is
we're
only
talking about drop
P6.
weeks, right? We're talking about drop weeks. Well, he's had a shocker of a first week.
Yeah, but it's that triple DNS that he's going to get rid of, right? But another DNF here is certainly not going to help his cause. We go back to the leaders now. There are only 11 competitors left in this race. Northway leads by 1 second over Pluck. Pluck now, out to 3.5 seconds. So he's dropped a bit of time in that last lap.
You got to give it to Northway.
Wow, that strategy move,
that was an awesome move.
Oh, so we're just hearing now, yeah, as I expected.
So it was a gas pit stop for all these guys.
Monkey Matt ran out of fuel. He tried to go into the pit lane. He took the joker instead, came through the final corner, and's gone, oh no, I've missed the pit lane. So he's come around halfway through the lap and run out of fuel. So these guys obviously needing to add a bit of fuel to their cars, and he's been robbed of a potential top 5 here, because we can see now Simon Bishop is down at P7.
If only we could see what these guys' fuel gauges are.
If only we could see their faces right now. Man, I'd hate to imagine what Monkey Matt is feeling at the moment. That has got huge.
Who did that at Bathurst?
It's happened several times. Jamie Wincup did that once.
Yeah.
Jamie Wincup's given it away a few times.
Look, if you guys like supercars, next weekend?
Next weekend.
Pukekohe Motorsport Park. Lots of lineup for New Zealand entertainment there as well. New Zealand classes supporting the supercars. But it's all about the Kiwis, Scott McLaughlin, Fabian, Shane Van Gisbergen.
Richie Stanaway, Andre Heimgartner, the other 2 Kiwis. Andre's coming on real strong at the moment. The Kelly Racing boys have made some aerodynamic modifications to that car, which has sort of brought it up closer to the front of the field, and it seems to be working a lot for them, and he had a really good showing at the Bend Motorsport Park last time out. So really stoked for Andre at the moment. He's doing a great job at Kelly Racing. Rumour has it that he's going to be sticking with Kelly Racing next year. This is only the second year that he's been able to stick with the team for a long time.
Was that Monkey Matt sitting in the bush to the right-hand side there, ran out of gas?
No, it's Dave Alki Roberts.
Right.
Roberts has gone off on his own. He's in last place anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We watch now, Kyle Madden is down in 8th. So Kyle Madden, the man who was on pole position, spun out on his own, is all the way down in P8 now, trying to recover, but is a minute adrift of the leaders as it stands. So Northway is your race leader, and it looks like, I think, Madden might have even gone a lap down.
Pluck has also got a bit of a strike next to his name as well, unfortunately for him.
That's Kyle Madden down the order. He's got a...
Did I say Pluck or Madden?
Pluck, yeah. So Madden.
I was
Madden
watching the screen and okay.
John Baggs as well.
Brian did not compute that one, sorry guys. Yeah, so Kyle Madden's got a strike next to his name as well. And unfortunately for him, this was the one where he really needed to deliver for that champion result. He's still going to be coming over to New Zealand for that grand final, no doubt, because he's sitting in 4th position, and after this weekend he would have had a solid result. But to get that first place is going to be all that much harder. Matthew Bull Pluck comes up over. Are we going to see any mistakes on the top of the hill? No, delivers nicely, comes on through. Northway currently on 117.5. Pluck cutting faster times now with a 117.473.
It's not enough though, is it? It's not enough.
Lap 18 of 25. Could it be, Simon?
Northway.
Give the man some hope.
Yeah, I don't know.
But to be honest, I want Northway to win anyway.
Northway will basically have to have massive tyre graining and fall off at the end of this race.
Kyle Madden
yeah,
now
that's
having
Kyle
a bit of a
Madden ahead of him.
whoopsie?
So from 9th through to 11th, they're all a lap down. Roberts has actually come into the pit lane, so he might be over and out for this race. Robert Northway potentially having to deal with some lap traffic late on in this race. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Kyle Madden is down to P8 there, the man who was on pole position, unfortunately looped it out at the start of this race. We were hoping to see maybe a surprise winner in this one, but unfortunately we didn't get it.
Did we just see the fuel gauge on the right-hand side of the screen just then when the speedo came up? So we saw a 31.8 on Robert Northway, so I'm assuming 31 litres.
Yeah, so plenty of fuel left, I
I
think.
wonder if we can pull up Pluck and see if we can pull up his fuel gauge. So Northway's on the lead with a 118. Pluck is actually doing faster times at the moment. If you pull Pluck there, so we see if we can pull up him 30 litres. I'm assuming that's right.
It should be enough.
Has anyone not pitted?
I think everyone's gone, and we can see Madden now pulling across the side. He'll be pretty gutted.
Good racing etiquette there from Madden. Lap 19 of 25. The question is 30 litres enough to get these boys home?
Certainly, but I think the question has to be now, has Northway got enough left in the tyres? Because that last lap he did a 118.1 versus a 117.3, and Pluck really did eat into the margin.
2 seconds.
Of first to second. Lap 19 here of 25. Certainly enough time for Northway to lose the lead. Certainly enough time for Pluck to narrow that margin. Certainly not enough time for guys like Seeker and Prinz or John Baggs to catch up to the leaders. Unfortunately, Seeker, the Flying Fox from Christchurch, is currently bogged down 14 seconds behind in third. We watch now Northway come out of the final corner. He does a 118 flat. Pluck does a 117.5. So are we seeing the effect of pitting early for Northway and those tyres falling off at the end of this race? Northway, we saw earlier on in the night, was certainly quicker towards the end of the races, but the roles have reversed, and Pluck is certainly eating into that margin. It's down to just 2.3 seconds with about 5 or 6 laps left to go.
Sonoma delivering the goods here. Exceptional race, 20 of 25. Pluck sitting in second position, still with a 2-second deficit there. Besides supercars, anything else, Simon, coming up? You're the man in the know with velocitynews.co.nz.
South Island Endurance Series.
That this weekend?
It's coming up soon in a couple of weeks.
That's I saw a recent article with the brand spanked, revamped R8. One of the teams, is it on Velocity?
Yeah, Ben Byers and Christina Royal West going to race that car. There's some mega cars coming out.
Christina, one of New Zealand's only female
Well,
Tier
arguably
1
the
races.
most successful. She made it all the way to Indy Lights, nearly got into IndyCar. Unfortunately missed out on that opportunity. That'll be a great story to tell one day. As we see Daniel Pinkham goes for a big send over the brow. We see another car. Zach Roberts also going off the track. They collide.
Yes.
They'll carry on. Unfortunately, a bit of drama there for these two at the end. Probably not caring too much, knowing that they're at the back of the pack. So we wait now that margin. Northway a 117.5 versus a 117.3, so just 2 tenths eaten into the margin between first and second.
Leaps and bounds ahead of Sika though, with a 15-second lead. Pluck, as we saw now, comes up over the hill. There's not a, when you look at it like that, there's not a big gap. Little slight mistake from Northway, and that could mean Pluck grabs that lead back. Sika, how cool would it have been to see Sika out on the podium? Well, it might be next week, unless these guys get into a tussle in the last 4 laps and somehow Pluck manages to close the gap. So, sorry, you see North Island Endurance is in a couple of weeks and only a couple months until round 1 starts of the Speedworks Championship.
Yep, we're going to be at Pukekohe Park, all the major championships, BNTV8s, 286 Championship, probably some utes in there as well. Next year, though, it gets really cool when we get to the summer season. Toyota Racing Series.
Teretonga.
Yeah.
And obviously D1NZ joining Speedworks as well. So a lot of fans wanted a big mega motorsport show, so that's what's delivering 3 events next year, which is Teretonga, Hampton Downs, and what did I miss?
There's one round that is still to be confirmed, either between Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park or Pukekohe Park.
Pukekohe,
Manfield Circuit, Chris Amon also going to feature.
Yeah, the GP.
I'm particularly looking forward to Teretonga. I love Teretonga.
To be honest, I love the idea of going there.
I'm going to take
the bottom of the South Island. I've never been there. Everybody who we talk to says it is going to sell out.
Wild.
It is going to be an amazing event.
So
they bring
wild.
Boats, they bring houses, they bring their cars, they bring their tents. Houseboats, you name it. They sleep in their boats overnight. It is just one big party, so we can't wait. We're bringing the whole, pretty much every motorsport top class in New Zealand is going down there. First time D1NZ has been down there. All the top dogs will be there, and I just can't wait. What an epic way to start the season.
The sun is setting here at Sonoma Raceway for the final race of the night. A bit of traffic for Northway late in the race here. Daniel Pinkham getting out of the way as they head into the chicane. That margin for the first time is down to under 2 seconds, so it is 1.8 as they round the final few corners here. With only a few more laps left to go. Pluck gets around. That would have cost them just a little bit of time. We'll wait and see what happens here as they come across the line. Northway, it will be a slow lap that one time yet, so that's a 117.9 versus a 117.9, so almost identical on that last lap. Pluck, perhaps his tyres now falling off as well, and I guess the margin equalising a bit in terms of the tyre quality between these two. Back out to 2 seconds now. Can Pluck make any inroads with only a few laps to go? I sort of wonder whether maybe he's just going to say, you know what, I've got the championship lead.
Consistency is key for him here. He doesn't want to chuck away those points. 200 points on offer first. Is it 100 points for second?
No, 188, so it's not like it's a huge deficit.
A lot of points on offer. Pluck will be looking at that, looking at the cash prize and looking at coming into LPL Studios, not next week, but the week after for the Bathurst Grand Final.
But just remember, there's $1,000 between first and second in the regular season. $500 if you win the winner-takes-all final here at LPL, here at Bathurst.
If you guys tuning in on Sky TV or on Twitch and you actually want to play for some keeps, play for some money, you can get onto our Facebook page, Twitter, or website. Check out Let's Play Live HQ, and there are Project Cars 2 amateur series that they run. There are many categories that you can actually enter and compete to get your invite, get your wild card entry to Project Cars championships like this one that we're seeing right now.
No doubt to be a season 4, so opportunity to get involved and perhaps follow in the footsteps of Daniel Shields and maybe make it over into the Formula 1 World Championship Esports competition.
And look, if your mum and dad tuning in right now with your young son, there is actually some or daughter, I should say. Yes, I shouldn't play that. Thanks, Simon. There is a future in esports. They were just reporting recently $1 billion industry in New Zealand coming out very soon. Here we go. It's the last lap. There is some lap traffic there up ahead for Robert Northway by the looks. 24 of 25.
Yeah, so one more lap after this. That margin is down to just a second now, so maybe Northway having to battle with that traffic here has just lost a little bit of time. It was a 1:17.8 versus a 1:17.7, so only a tenth between them. But on this lap alone, the margin has come down by a significant amount. Pluck just dropping the hammer on this penultimate lap here at Sonoma Raceway. Maybe the track temperature just cooling a little bit in these final stages, and it looks like Pluck is within shooting distance of Northway on this last lap here. Here we go, the final lap here of Sonoma Raceway, just 6 tenths between them.
It's
Northway
like he just waited.
A 1:19.2 versus a 1:17.6, so the best part of 1.5 seconds. Here we go. Is Northway going to choke? We've seen him come under pressure and make mistakes late in the race all through the season. It's been his kryptonite, being under pressure. There is only a few car lengths between them. Can Pluck pull something out of the bag in these final stages? He gets loose again and he's gone off. Oh no, just holds on to it. I thought we were going to watch an action replay of the mistake he made earlier in this race, which ultimately has cost him a chance at cruising away to this win. But it looks like Northway, he goes a little bit wide as well. Doesn't quite open up the door for Pluck, but Pluck maybe just throwing away an opportunity there at winning this race. We see one of the lap cars getting out of the way. There's only a few more corners left to go. Is Pluck going to send it down at the chicane? No, he goes a little bit wide there. That's cost him a little bit of time. Here we go. Just a few more corners left. Northway, can he hold on? Pluck, he's within distance of sending it down the inside. Will he try? No, does the sensible thing and lets Northway potentially just have this one. I reckon with a lap to go though, Pluck might have had another opportunity, but it is Northway who claims the win here in the feature race. 200 points to the man of Christchurch. Ultimately though, Pluck will come out as the king of Christchurch with 2 race wins here tonight. It is Seeker who will come home P3. You just have to wonder whether Pluck might have had one more sniff at it if he had one more lap left on the board. One mistake, I believe, probably would have cost him that opportunity we see over the brow here. This is where it all came undone. The car just stepped out on him a little bit too loose and unfortunately threw away an opportunity of potentially getting a good run out of this corner and sending it down the inside at the hairpin. So Pluck comes home P2 behind Northway, who are watching now on the warm down lap. Prenz will pick up P4 just behind Seeker, and John Baggs looks like he is going to claim the final position in the top 5.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Sonoma delivering the goods. And it was like Pluck just waited to the last lap just to make sure he didn't push himself, and then he went for the pounce. But there you have it. First position, Robert Northway, Matthew Pluck in second, Seeker, the other Christchurch local, in third. Prenz, Seeker, you're safe for this week. We're not going to name you. Prenz in fourth position. Sife Crimson, a great result for him and John Baggs. That'll be extra important championship points. New Zealand, Simon Bishop, we won't see him back next week. Seventh position, Kyle Madden, unfortunate for him. So important this week to get championship points. EVP in 8th. 10th position, Daniel Pinkham. 11th, Dave Roberts, aka Alki. Wow, that was a race, ladies and gentlemen. It was some exceptional racing, Simon. It really put you on the edge of your seat for that last lap, and it was a cool track. So, you know, we're going to catch up. We're going to see the tournament later, the championship results, and we'll catch up with Simon. All of that. Stay tuned. We'll find it after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Let's Play Live Star Insurance Project Cars Driven. It's time that you drive a Lamborghini Huracan thanks to Driven in Hampton Downs. Just get on to driven.co.nz, enter, I'm pretty sure it was race, and you could win a night for 2 at Sky City, and you could also win a drive for 2 at Hampton Downs in the Huracan. Me and Simon are going to go do it. Thank you, Hampton Downs and Tony Quinn. Oh, feature race. What did you say? What do you say?
How good?
How good?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I thought, you know, towards the end there, I reckon Pluck had one more lap, would have had a chance there maybe at getting the man Murphy's Law, but here is your points. Wow, the kings of Christchurch, in fact, the 2 men who came in to the round, wanting to get bragging rights, coming out the other side with equal points, 380 apiece. Seeker doing a good job there down in P3. Prenz picks up P4. Simon Bishop doing a good job there, despite the fact that he won't be at the final with P5. S-Wave, Crimson, Madzi, and John Baggs, the crucial men in terms of the championship points, cracking that top 8 for the round. Monkey Matt, though, EVP, both outside the top 8 points for tonight alone. That DNF has really hurt Monkey Matt, especially being in the feature race. We look at the championship standings now. Wow, okay, first to second hasn't changed, obviously. 92 points to deficit again for Murphy's Law, Robert Northwaite to Matthew Bull Pluck. Seeker drops back just a little bit now, 400 points adrift down there in P3. Kyle Madden sticking in there in P4. Prenz and Simon Bishop, 5th and 6th respectively. Monkey Matt and EVP, 7th and 8th, but it's crucial. Dave Stone there, he's just ahead of John Baggs for 9th. So 9th, as we said earlier, Simon Bishop obviously can't be competing in the final, so he basically surrenders his role in the final. So it's the man who gets 9th who will obviously make it through to the final.
All right, next week, ladies and gentlemen, same place, same time. It's Monza, it's a Mola in the GT86. We fight for $6,500 on the line. You be there. Be safe on the roads. Thanks for tuning in. Brendan White, Simon Chapman. Bye for now.
This LPL Pro presentation was proudly brought to you by Star Insurance.